From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building dreams with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. Take the prize.
The uniform may come off, but the mission doesn't end. What happens when veterans take the discipline, resilience, and leadership forged in service and turn it into business ownership? Today, we're going inside the DAV Patriot Bootcamp and hearing directly from the veterans building what's next. Welcome back to Dog Tags to Ownership, where we highlight veterans and military-connected entrepreneurs who are building businesses, creating impact, and owning their next chapter. Today, we're joined by multiple cohort members of the DAV Patriot Bootcamp, along with the communications director from the Disabled American Veterans, to talk about what this program really does and how it transforms lives. So let's dive into it. Today, we are here with Dan Clare, who some of you might remember from Season 1 of Dog Tags to Ownership. Dan is the Chief Communications and Outreach Officer for the Disabled American Veterans, DAV, a nonprofit organization that helps veterans of all generations with benefits, healthcare, employment, and more. For those of you who may not be familiar, Dan, what is the mission of DAV?
Hey, thanks for having me back in. DAV is really about keeping promises to veterans. That's our slogan. That's what we're focused on. So it's taken people who have been changed in military service and trying as best we can to make them whole. And you mentioned benefits. That's a huge part of what we do. That's what a lot of veterans know us for, is helping them. We have veterans who are advocates themselves. They're in VA regional centers, and they're helping those veterans connect with benefits. We're also on bases helping people transitioning out of the military as well. After benefits, though, there's a lot more that we do to empower veterans. One of the things is employment. That's a huge area of focus for us. We do about 100 career fairs a year throughout the country. And that's where we got into the entrepreneurship program. And from the entrepreneurship program, we grew a little bit to include caregivers. So we have a caregivers program that's all of DAV's services are free of charge. That's helping veterans that way. Transportation to hospitals and volunteerism is a huge part of our mission as well. We've been around a long time, but we're always looking for new ways to help veterans. And of course, we are a voice on Capitol Hill for veterans. So that's an important part of what we do as well.
Like you mentioned, Dan, you guys do so many things for veterans, and it's just a phenomenal organization. For those listeners and followers out there who aren't familiar with DAV, can you just explain briefly what DAV Patriot Bootcamp is?
DAV Patriot Bootcamp was its own charity until about 3.5 years ago, three years and some change ago. And it was actually absorbed by DAV coming out of COVID. Because we loved the program and they loved the stability that DAV could bring. It's a program, it helps entrepreneurs, founders, military spouses, military members, veterans, of course, and it's giving them the building blocks that they need as founders. Most of our folks are founders, giving them some building blocks and a network to support them.
And why do you think entrepreneurship is so important or matters for veterans as they're transitioning out of the military or already transitioning out of the military? What do you think it is about entrepreneurship that is so important for veterans?
I think that veterans see the potential. They believe in themselves. We believe in veterans. We believe in their capabilities, their resilience, the natural skills and the leadership that they have. So with Patriot Bootcamp, our hope is that we're able to turn them into people who can solve the problems in our country beyond military service. They've already served their country. They've already sacrificed for us. But this is our chance to give them some opportunities to help them connect them with a network of people who are going to help them out and just get behind them, because veterans are more likely to hire more veterans. And veterans, every entrepreneur who I've ever seen, it's more than selling widgets, if that's what their company's about. It's about a mission. It's about a purpose after service. And that purpose really, someone brought it up in our last cohort, that purpose, having that purpose sometimes can save a life.
Yeah, and that's something we talk about in our podcast a lot, is as you transition out of the military, is finding your purpose, finding your why, what that looks like. And sometimes that's very difficult for veterans as they transition, who have been in the military. That's all they've known. That's all that they've wanted to do their whole life. And then, they come out of the military and they transition, and finding that renewed purpose, that renewed why. And like you said, entrepreneurship is a great way for veterans to be able to do that. And then I think that goes to my next question, is the community aspect of that, and how businesses can help the community and fill some of those gaps. And what do you see from that as you all go through these different cohorts with Patriot Bootcamp and the community aspect that veterans are bringing to America and small town USA?
It's really difficult to narrow down to the candidates we have when we're selecting a cohort. Cohort's about 2.5 days, so people are making a commitment to get away, but then picking a group of people who we think are going to be able to gel together and lift each other up. And that's what we're seeing from Patriot Bootcamp. And it's not just the veterans, it's the mentor community. We have a lot of mentors who come back time and again. Those are folks who are flying across the country often to volunteer their time. They're flying on their own dime. We put them up, but for the most part, it's this give back that a lot of CEOs have, that a lot of lawyers, the people who can help veterans who are involved in the program do a great job. And in terms of impact, I mean, right away you can see some impact. In our last cohort, there's a Marine veteran named Josh Brack. He owns JB's Spice Blends. We had Robert Irvine there from Food Network's Restaurant Impossible. He wrote a book, Overcoming Impossible, which is focused on entrepreneurism. And we lined those two up. And I was there watching, Robert's mentoring. JB has MRE hot sauce was one of his big things. It's worth checking out. It's really cool. He's provided to the cohort. It's delicious. Him meeting Robert Irvine and Robert Irvine's connections. Robert Irvine hops on the phone, his phone on the spot. He calls one of the directors for military exchanges, and there's a chance JB could end up in 300 stores, which would be a huge boon to his business. And we see that with a lot of the people who got involved. We had one of the founding family members of Honey Baked Hams donated some legal help to one of the entrepreneurs. The people who come show up wanting to help, ready to help, and those relationships continue beyond the cohorts.
Yeah, and I think that just goes back to also how those relationships, it helps the entrepreneur, but it also helps the community. So if JB is able to get MRE hot sauce into the exchanges, that's helping more veterans, more military members that are able to purchase his spices and those types of things. And it's just that lasting impact that people are seeing, and also seeing that it's a veteran-owned business. And I think that's very important for people to know, because, here coming up soon, we're going to be celebrating America 250. But, my whole thing about that is you wouldn't have America 250 without the military. What do you see as like the long-term impact that these cohorts are having?
This is an entry point to connect with the larger community. It seems usually an entrepreneur coming to Patriot Bootcamp has they're stuck somewhere. They have a couple stucks. Sometimes it's funding, sometimes it's team building, sometimes it's intellectual property, legal issues that they're dealing with. And when they get over those hurdles, we're going to see them accelerate. It's sometimes more difficult to keep up with veterans because after they succeed, they got a lot more on their plates, and that follow-up is something that we're working on. Create an alumni experience that is transformative for people who've already been transformed. We want to take them that much further and see what some of these veterans can do.
Here with April Dingle, who is the owner and founder of Special Ops Child Watch. April is a seasoned childcare provider with over 20 years of experience, including 20 dedicated years to military childcare. She is a Washington, D.C. native and married to a United States Army National Guardsman. April is the executive founder of Special Ops Child Watch, LLC, which supports military families during meaningful moments, standing by for on-site child care watch for guests who are attending events from ages 6 weeks to 20 years. Sometimes that means caring for many children or for one family. Every experience is handled with the same level of care and professionalism. April stands by to proudly serve those who serve. So April, I know that you just recently attended the DAV Patriot Bootcamp. So my first question for you is, why did you apply for DAV Patriot Bootcamp?
Apply for Patriot Bootcamp because although we have been in existence for 2 years, this is my first time coming into entrepreneurship in this manner. And so I just want to learn. My goal for 2026 was to learn all that I could about business, how it operates within the military community, since that's my target audience. So when I saw that opportunity come by, I was like, there's no way I can miss it.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the same for many of the members of the cohort. A lot of people have already started their businesses and are really trying to expand their business or learn more about entrepreneurship and what services and things are out there and available to you as a business owner. And as a military connected business owner like yourself, what was the biggest mindset shift that you experienced while you were going through that 2.5-day program down in Myrtle Beach?
So because my business started out as just me trying to volunteer to meet a community need, I never handled it as if it was just a volunteer opportunity. I mean, from day one, I took a lot of care in what it was that I was trying to provide to my community. However, as time has gone by and I see that it's a beneficial need within our community, I'm like, wow, this is bigger than what I thought I was going to be doing. So going to DAV not only gave me the information that I felt like I was lacking on certain things regarding business, but it actually affirmed me in my thought process concerning my business, and it called me to a higher standard. It's like, no, what you have is precious, it's needed, it's wanted, and so you have freedom to treat it as such. And so just learning how to form a business effectively, whether it's LLC, S Corp, or whatever, and then learning, how to send appropriate emails and how to use AI to be able to help expedite things in my company. It was like, wow, it caused me to level up, put it like that.
Was there a moment where you were going through the program and it just kind of like clicked and you were like, oh, wow, I could be doing all these things and building this business so much more?
Yes. And honestly, for me, it was through meeting other entrepreneurs who felt the anxieties that I was beginning to feel, because I feel like I'm doing this, like the back end office of it alone. And because I feel like I'm still learning, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. But then the community, the camaraderie that was there, people who were in fields that I need help in, just coming alongside of me and like, hey, I can help you with this. Like, this is all you need to help you in this area. For me, that was just like, wow, just amazing. And it just spurred me on to saying, I can do this. I don't have to feel like I can't do the things that are coming into my mind because I don't have the tools, because those people, they're committed to just helping us.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about the DAV Patriot Bootcamp and the amount of mentors that come there and provide their time and resources to help inspiring or already entrepreneurs that are veterans, military members, or military connected. Was there one specific tool, lesson, or relationship that you got from Patriot Bootcamp that has been the biggest impact so far?
Yes, and it's courage to share who we are. I've been walking in some imposter syndrome, but being there and doing the speed dating with the mentors, I call it speed dating, but the matchmaking type thing, that really brought me out of my shell, because things concerning my business, I would minimize the function and the effectiveness of it. And as I would share those with the mentor, they'd be like, well, why aren't you telling people about this piece of your business? And it just gave me courage to do so. The number one thing I could say that tremendously helped me was being able to be selected to participate in the live pitch opportunity. I was scared out of my mind, and it probably shows in the video if you refer back to that. But it just taught me it's okay to not do your best. Just don't let that be the last time you try. And for me, ever since I've left there, I've been introducing myself to people, sharing who Special Ops is. People are just like, wow, so confidence. That's what I walked away with most, is confidence.
I'm here with Lou Spazzetti, the founder of Drone to Business, a platform that helps drone pilots and small operators turn their flying skills into sustainable business. A career citizen soldier, Lou has served for more than 3 decades in the California Army National Guard. Drone to Business turns scattered spreadsheets, emails, and flight logs into a single cockpit for running a drone service company. So let's start here, Lou. Why did you apply for DAV Patriot Bootcamp?
Just saw an email come up, and then was supported for DAV for a while, and they helped me when I retired, going through the transition process. And so when I saw that come across, I was basically at a transitional point where I'm got this idea. I'm already working on the project, doing our MVP for Drone to Business. And then this came across, and I'm like, well, what a fabulous learning experience. I just applied for it. I kind of applied for it on a whim, not really thinking I was going to get accepted for it. And when I did, I was just super excited and did not know what to expect until I got out there. I mean, it's still at that point when I first got out there, I didn't really know what to expect, and it exceeded my expectations immensely.
As you were going through the program, what was the biggest mindset shift that you experienced while you were going through it?
I don't know if I can narrow it down to one specific moment there where the light went off, or it was this big shift. The first day going through all the classes and the presenters just talking through everything they did was really broadening. I can say that much. There was just so much to absorb and so many things I hadn't thought about. But it was, I want to say, the second day that really probably stuck the most when we did the e-dating, they called it. We sat down with all our mentors, and, I had 5 or 6 mentors that I got to sit down with and spend 20 to 30 minutes with, just telling my ideas, and then they would give me their thoughts. That was the big one, I'd say, going through and getting their feedback on my idea, and just getting the fresh perspective on it, and getting the validation. That's what I was looking forward to, saying, hey, this is a good idea, you should do this, or you should do this, or you're way underpricing what you're going to be doing, and you should be doing this instead. And just getting so many different perspectives on what we're doing, that was probably the big one for me.
What specific tool, lesson, or relationship from DAV Patriot Bootcamp has had the biggest impact on your business so far?
Getting the ideas of how to do some, like the marketing and advertising, was really, really big, because I just had a conversation on that last week with Chandler from High Beam Marketing. And so he really kind of pointed me in the right direction to start building the social media and email lists, and getting more involved on LinkedIn and how to do that, because we're just bootstrapping what we're doing here, so don't have a lot of funds to go out and do a bunch of marketing. And then some of the other mentors, the accountability was really big. Had some people kind of, put the boot in the fifth point of contact, say, hey, what are you doing? What's going on here? How come you're not engaged in this? Or how come you're not doing this? And so that was fun. And then it was definitely fun. And the networking was huge. Just getting to meet everybody out there, and so many different ideas, so many different people making so many different businesses, was just mind blowing. They all obviously all have different ideas and different takes on stuff, but the sheer amount of information that we absorbed was obviously just a fire hose, but it was a great fire hose.
That you learned from DAV Patriot Bootcamp, or just an overall thought as you left there and now been able to reflect on it, that you'd like to provide to our listeners and followers?
I encourage, if anybody is in any step of the entrepreneurial process and they don't think it's going to benefit them, just apply for it. You don't know until you get there and until you do it. And I know there's a lot of other programs that do some very similar stuff that a lot of people apply for, but having been through this one, I can highly, highly recommend it. And it is not a waste of your time. I know you'll spend some money to go out there and go to it, but once you're there, everything's covered, and it is well worth it. I cannot recommend it enough. It really was an exciting and exhilarating, tiring, and overall fun time that I'll never regret going to it. It was just a lot of fun, and the folks that put it on are amazing. I mean, they really are. From Dan to Matt and the team, they really put it all on and do a lot of work for us to come out there. I can't express my gratitude to all of them enough. So it's just awesome.
I'm here with Chris Wysong, who is a U.S. Army veteran and founder of Bucket of Bread, a purpose-driven baking company in La Crosse, Wisconsin. After completing a career in military service, he pursued entrepreneurship to make home baking simpler and healthier. His organic, non-GMO baking spices require only water and are designed for flexibility and ease in the kitchen. Why did you apply for DAV Patriot Bootcamp?
So when I started seeing the things that they'll help walk you through, I thought, I've done a few things before, but you could always have another tool in your toolbox. And I was not disappointed. There were a lot of things that they did that I hadn't seen before. I looked at myself in a new light. I gained some knowledge and insight in this particular spot and that particular spot. And it was just completely worth it.
Kudos to what they do. And it is an amazing organization. It is an amazing boot camp that they put on for entrepreneurs, hiring entrepreneurs, all of the above, really. What was your biggest mindset shift that you experienced while you were there? What was that one thing that just really stuck out to you as an aha moment, or something that just clicked, or something that surprised you the most while you were there?
I think one of the little epiphanies that I hit was that I was getting in my own way. And I've done a lot of the hard stuff, but for some reason, I was getting my wheels wrapped around some of the just things that I was doing that was holding me back. So I was able to get some more strategic planning and set. And it wasn't like some big, really detailed piece of information. It was some simple things that, just because I talked to others and I was able to open my mind to looking at myself differently and the direction I was taking it, I'm now better able to just step aside so that I can get through.
And what was a specific tool or lesson or relationship that you feel like you learned or you received from Patriot Bootcamp that has had the biggest impact on your business so far?
Well, for me, I went there and I probably should have dug more deep dive into what I was getting into because I got to meet somebody who is an expert in their field, who has demonstrated that. Chef Robert Irvine was there. I actually got to speak to the person and get some direct, hey, let me give you some specific information and feedback on what you're doing. And that was just a huge, big boost confidence moment to where it's like, I didn't expect that. So to me, that was just a really amazing little situation I found myself in because somebody who's done that, been there and been huge success with it is telling me I'm doing good stuff. So that was huge on the inside for me.
I know at DAV Patriot Bootcamp and the cohort that you were a part of, there was a few different chefs. Was it beneficial for you to be able to network with them and then also learn more from them about building your brand and your business?
Being able to meet those folks, but really, there's not a whole lot of people doing something that they're sending food wise out across the internet through the order system that way. It was really just so many different business types that were there. There was probably like 60 or so businesses there that were representing themselves and what they're doing and trying to gain the same sites of insight. And what I found pretty cool about what DAV did with what they have set up is that they were able to take the different types of curriculum, if you will, and structure it in a way that everybody gained some benefit and some insight into what they're doing. And I thought that was another piece of just really putting on an expert performance for this type of an event.
What has been your biggest struggle? What was your biggest struggle before you went to DAV Patriot Bootcamp and then during the program? And then what have you had to wrestle with, since you got back, that struggle that you're trying to overcome forward?
So my entire adult life has been military centric. And when I left, that would have been 2018. And I really had no idea what I was going to do or if I even wanted to do anything. But after a little bit of sitting around and just kind of trying to think, I played around with a couple ideas. For whatever reason, I had this, I'm going to do something that I've created and I'm going to make it a thing. And that's where my idea came into play. And I think that just having that I've given myself a purpose again feeling is really a key piece to that transition. And, this could not work, but I've still done a thing and I've given myself, that civilian identity that gives me a little bit more of a purpose beyond having worn a uniform. So I think that's an important flow to get into is find who you are.
I'm here with Josh Brock, a retired Marine Corps combat veteran and 19-year Department of Justice professional who founded JB's Gourmet Spice Blends. What began as a small passion project grew into a veteran-owned brand producing premium seasonings, rubs, hot sauces, and jams. JB's products are carried by more than 50 retailers across 7 states and also sold for commercial use to butchers, restaurants, hospitals, and schools. JB, so glad that you're able to join us. I know that you graduated from DAV Patriot Bootcamp a few weeks ago, but just to start, what made you apply to DAV Patriot Bootcamp?
It's something different, and I saw that there was more of a mentorship opportunity with one of their day sessions that I was looking forward to. It's always good to get an outside perspective from other business owners and how they first view you and your product. So I was really hunger for that. You can get perceptions from your customers and how they react, but it's also good to have other business owners to look at it too. And it doesn't have to be a business owner, in a CPG form aspect, because I got a lot of, indicators from people that are in different industries as well.
Once you got to the program and you were able to start the program, the 2.5 days, was that still the biggest benefit that you found from the program, or was there something else that
Some of the pitch notes that they went over were good. You always have to pitch your product. There's always the way that we see it, and then there's the way to pitch it so that other people can see your vision too, that don't have the heart into it, but they want to understand it. And so trying to do that in as little as time as possible so that you keep their attention, it's hard to do. So I liked that as well from the boot camp that I hadn't gotten at, other places.
I do believe the DAV Patriot Bootcamp is one of the best ones out there that really put a lot of effort into helping veterans get into entrepreneurship and what they do for the program. What was the biggest mind shift that you experienced while you were there? Was it, just something that clicked that somebody was telling you, or what just surprised you, I guess, besides the pitch contest, but something that just a mind shift change or shift that you had while you were there?
Probably the biggest mind shift change was just the sitting down with Robert Irvine and getting his cold criticism. He can be very bold and opinionated, which I was warned about prior to sitting down with him. And he'll let you know if it's great or if he thinks it's BS. The reaction I got from him on our MRE line and the enthusiasm behind him told me that I'm doing something right, especially with some immediate contacts that he was willing to make for me on my behalf. And it changes my perspective is taking a hobby and turn into a passion and a product. It's sold in 50 stores and I've got it in a lot of places regionally, but to have his perspective and say this absolutely can be a national brand changes my whole mindset and outlook on how I look at things and how to move forward.
It probably makes you change your business strategy, your business plan, and how you're going to expand to that national brand. Entrepreneurship is hard. Just like transition out of the military is hard. And a lot of people don't talk about the hard stuff when it comes to entrepreneurship. What was your biggest struggle prior to going to DAV Patriot Bootcamp, and then during the program, and then now taking that regional brand now to try to get it into a national brand?
It's strategy and where I spend my time. So having product-based business, it's a lot of hours and it's pushing, it's promoting, but a lot of it is brand strategy too and labeling when it comes to CPG. I showed the product to Robert, asked him to try it, and he didn't want to. And he goes, I don't need to try it. He goes, you're probably going to stores and doing demos and doing the taste before you buy. And he goes, that's great. That works locally, which is what you're doing. He goes, but to be a national brand, you physically can't go to every store and do a taste before you buy approach. They have to be able to see it on the shelf and want to grab it and buy it. They're going to buy it first because of how it looks. It's sexy. He's like, it looks, he goes, I love it. He goes, but then they're going to love it too because of how it tastes and they're going to buy it again. And he goes, that's what you've done here. You created something that people are going to want to buy and gift and eat and try again. And he goes, that's where it separates you from being, a local farm and market type brand that people know you locally to where you can expand nationally. And so it takes even more effort to get it out there, to figure out the brokerage and distributors and how to move product that way. But at the same time, it can alleviate some of my time of what I'm doing here at home, where I can take steps back. Because my biggest struggle, and I think this is anyone that's an entrepreneur, especially anyone that bootstraps a business. Most bootstrappers like myself, we have full-time careers and the business comes after hours, and having a family and a wife and kids, the balance is very hard. So keeping that balance with family and trying to keep all the momentum going is probably the hardest structure and issue that I've had as an entrepreneur. And I think I still will and always will have that. But to me, it's worth it. Like I feel like I'm building something. I'm showing my kids that it's okay to work hard towards something and build something.
I'm here with Sam Peterson, a former U.S. Army EOD tech who turned his recovery journey into a mission to modernize mental health care. He is the co-founder of Mind Spa Denver and Patriot Power Up, and the founder of the Invictus Project, a nonprofit that helps veterans access treatment. Sam, thanks for coming on the podcast today to discuss your journey at the DAV Patriot Bootcamp and how it really helped you with your business. And congratulations on being first in the pitch contest. But just to start off, why did you apply to DAV Patriot Bootcamp?
One of the things that is the unsung value about the veteran community is our ability to come together. So often in the entrepreneurial journey, veterans especially get pigeonholed into this idea that we're in it alone. So being able to come together with other veteran entrepreneurs and a lot of early stage veteran entrepreneurs was really valuable, because we get the chance to, bat ideas around together, to test some of our assumptions, and then hear from other veterans who have been in our shoes, walked in the same combat boots, and now they're doing the same thing. So it's an invaluable place and time to get the kind of mentorship that you would normally have to pay thousands of dollars for.
For DAV Patriot Bootcamp, all you have to do is pay your way out there and everything else is included, which I think is a great organization and a great way to really build that community for folks. And like you said, to test those assumptions. While you're there, what was the biggest mindset shift that you had, or the aha moment while you were going through the program that's really helped you since you've left the program better your business?
It's one of the biggest things was talking to some of the other business owners that were in the AI space. So much of medicine involves rote activities, manual entry of data or providers having to type out clinical notes. So being around other entrepreneurs that actually had products and services that could help my business was a huge, huge help. And then getting to connect with the mentors, like getting to sit down with Robert Irvine was pretty incredible. And, I've seen him since then and been able to interact with some of the people in his circle, and just being in that environment where everyone's on the same team. Everyone's a veteran who's trying to accomplish a mission and move their business forward. There's nothing quite like it, because there is this, I would say, this foundational layer of trust that exists once you've been through, the proverbial shit. Whether or not you're in the same unit or anything, you've still had quite a bit of shared experience. And I think that there's also a layer of selfless service that just kind of gets etched onto a veteran's skeletal structure. And that really permeates throughout the whole program.
I know that your business was already established prior to you going to DAV Patriot Bootcamp. Before I hit record, we were talking about entrepreneurship and it being hard. And entrepreneurship is very hard. Every day it's a journey, it's a struggle. And so is transition out of the military. And your company was founded on your recovery journey coming out of the military. What has been your biggest struggle that you've had really building your business and moving it forward? And where you are today, what has been that biggest struggle for you?
Oh, my biggest struggle was co-founders. I had a co-founder that we recently exited the business, and he cost me over $1 million. 3 lawsuits, destroyed our office culture. We at one point had 100% turnover, and I would not be sitting here like in the position I am today if it wasn't for other veteran entrepreneurs. I was in the CEO circle with Bunker Labs during that time, and it was having that fellowship with other veteran entrepreneurs where I could just sometimes just go and cry because I was under so much pressure and so much stress, and having those people that are walking that same struggle with you is just invaluable. And kind of the crazy thing was, this wasn't my first Patriot Bootcamp. This is actually my second. My first one was back in 2018 before it was brought into the fold with DAV. And we got, me and my co-founder for that business, we got third in the pitch competition. And that first Patriot Bootcamp experience was what really catalyzed our interest in being part of this veteran entrepreneurship community.
What do you think is the difference now that Patriot Bootcamp has come underneath DAV?
Yeah, I think there was definitely a sense of more coherence, more of a programmatic feel to the whole thing. The speakers were a higher tier on this one, and the mentors as well. Like, you don't just get someone like Robert Irvine in to talk CPG with your cohort because you're just some random nonprofit. So there was definitely that feeling of this overarching programmatic cohesion that wasn't there before.
I think that's one of the great things about DAV taking on Patriot Bootcamp and bringing that into the fold is because of how big the nonprofit is and what it's able to do for veterans, and then also now veteran entrepreneurs. I got 4 rapid fire things I want to ask you, and you just finish my sentence and what you think. One word that describes Patriot Bootcamp.
Community.
Okay. Biggest fear before applying.
My business wouldn't be accepted, wouldn't be found worthy to accept.
Best advice for veterans thinking about entrepreneurship.
Do it.
Finish this sentence. Ownership means.
Wow. Ownership means stewardship.
One word that describes Patriot Bootcamp.
Powerful.
Biggest fear before applying.
Failure.
Best advice for veterans thinking about entrepreneurship.
Do it. That's 2 words.
Finish the sentence. Ownership means.
Work.
One word that describes Patriot Bootcamp.
Outstanding.
Biggest fear before applying.
Failure.
Best advice for veterans thinking about entrepreneurship.
Start.
Finish the sentence. Ownership means.
Purpose.
One word that describes Patriot Bootcamp.
Motivating.
Biggest fear before applying.
Finding the time to go.
That's a good one. Best advice for veterans thinking about entrepreneurship.
Don't think about it. If you keep thinking about it, you won't do it. You just got to dive right in.
And then the last one, finish this sentence. Ownership means.
Tenacity, perseverance, it means a lot of things.
One word that best describes Patriot Bootcamp.
Transformational.
Biggest biggest fear before applying?
Social anxiety.
Best advice for veterans thinking about entrepreneurship?
Prepare for pain.
Finish this sentence. Ownership means?
Doing the hard thing no matter what.
Dan, is there any last things that you would say about the DAV Patriot Bootcamp to the listeners and followers out there who are interested in getting into entrepreneurship?
There's a lot of people who provide great services out there. One of the things I think that separates us to an extent is our focus on policy in Washington, D.C. There's legislation pending all the time, and we work with SBA. We're really grateful to work with them, but we're looking at how can we expand opportunities for veterans in government contracting and looking at the systems and structures that are in place to support them. And so that's another area where we're able to advocate. Wouldn't it be great if we saw utilization of service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses more widely part of the federal contracting process? I'd encourage anyone to become a part of the community. We do Caffeine Connects where we're exploring topics. If you have feedback for us, we always want that. So, I mean, my message, my big takeaway is get involved with DAV, get involved with all these groups, because at the end of the day, we're the ones who are going to solve our own problems, and we're veterans serving veterans. So getting together, being a part of it, being part of Dog Tags to Ownership, it's an important part of just the stewardship.
Dan, thank you so much, and I really appreciate you coming on and telling us more about DAV Patriot Bootcamp and allowing us to speak to some of the cohort members about their time at DAV Patriot Bootcamp, because it is a great community that we want to continue to uplift for the veterans. To finish up here, Sam, what is something that you would tell entrepreneurs, military members, veterans, military connected, about DAV Patriot Bootcamp that they might not be expecting if they sign up for that experience?
I think it's really hard to set expectations around this, especially when you're coming into an environment like this for the first time. But I would say for someone who's coming in at like the idea phase or the just got their first revenue phase, this program is just incredibly valuable. Bring an open heart and an open mind. Be prepared to have all of your assumptions questioned. And really, like, if you can come with your assumptions so you can get these mentors to tell you why you're wrong, it will save you so much time, because it's so easy as an entrepreneur or someone who's really close to a problem to get really, really married to your solution. And so often we get married to these solutions before we test them in the market. And so by coming to a gathering like this, you are immediately put in front of people who have been in that situation and had to test those assumptions in the market, who can really save you years and potentially millions of dollars by saying, hey, your baby's ugly. Here's how you make it pretty. Let's put some lipstick on this pig and test it in the market so that you can get a better understanding of what you're actually doing. Because we come into this much like children coming into the entrepreneurial game, that is, we don't know what we don't know. And just every single time, it's not the knowns that end up smacking you upside the head, it's the unknowns. And the only way to get that precious information of what are the unknowns that I'm not seeing is to talk to somebody who's been in your shoes before.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the beauty of DAV Patriot Bootcamp, and in particular, day 2 and the speed dating and sitting down with the mentors and being able to go through your product and what it is and have those people tell you, yeah, this doesn't work, or it does work. But these are the things that you need to change.
I think on the speed dating, even more than like this, I like or don't like your product, 9 times out of 10, it's, hey, what do you do again? I just gave you, 30, 40 seconds of my time as a mentor. You should have been able to tell me exactly what you do and what value it brings to me as a potential consumer. And if you can't do that, then you can't succeed. Daniel Priestley says this really eloquently, that entrepreneurship is the journey of 1,000 pitches. And that speed dating is an incredible opportunity to just nail that first minute and a half that you have with someone who's across the table that you don't know might be interested in investing in your business for all you know.
The mission continues. Service evolves. Leadership doesn't end. It expands. If you're a veteran ready to take control of your next chapter, check out DAV Patriot Bootcamp through the Disabled American Veterans. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. This is Dog Tags to Ownership, where we turn service into strategy and vision into ownership. And until next week, keep pushing to turn those dog tags into ownership.
From dog tags to ownership, heroes take the lead. Stories of veterans building trains with passion, drive, and speed. From service to success, we're here to inspire the quest. Dog tags to ownership, we're the best. Take the prize.